Our Deanna Shaw from Community Bible Church is not here to offer the invocation, so if you would bow your heads, I will lead us in an invocation. Heavenly Father, thank you for the privilege of prayer. Thank you for your mercy and your love. We pray that you'll be with us during this meeting tonight, that we will be of sound mind, that we'll be of stout heart, and that we'll make decisions that will be best for the city of Perry. In your heavenly name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I think Mike's got football tonight,
I assume so. His truck was there earlier today, but I
Yeah.
didn't see it.
so I think at 1:01, I'll call our meeting to order and ask if you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Shirley, would you please take roll call?
Chad Fuller,
Here.
Larry Lambert,
Here.
Bob Porter,
Here.
Keena Dunn, Jacob Pucker,
Here.
Mayor Hannon.
Here. Looking now for approval of the agenda, but before you do that, we just have one little correction. On the agenda, down under new business, it says possible approval to disconnect sewer, but that should say possible approval to discontinue second sewer billing. So I'm looking for approval of the agenda with that change.
I move that we accept the agenda as printed with the amendment.
Second.
We have a motion from Bob, seconded by Chad. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. And now looking for reading and approval of the minutes of our last meeting.
I move that we suspend the rules, waive the reading, and approve the minutes from the September 7th, 2023 regular meeting.
Second.
We have a motion from Larry, seconded by Bob. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. In our pre-approved reports, I'd like to kind of flip the order a little bit and ask Keena Dunn if she would introduce herself, and then we'll have Jacob introduce himself, and then we'll go on to the
Alrighty.
other things.
Well, hello, my name is Keena Dunn, and I have a script because I can't do this off cuff. The reason I stepped into to become a council member is clear to me. I appreciate this city. I appreciate the history and how the city has grown. As a homeowner, I want to keep the city of Perry a safe and wonderful place to live. I feel my experience in finance and communication will be an asset to the city council. I have been in Perry area on and off since 1984. I have some college background, including Lansing Community College, studying accounting, psychology, and real estate, and Baker College studying teacher education. I am currently employed at Michigan State University, working as an accountant at University Advancement. I oversee the gift portion of wire and stock transfers that are received. I manage and create the designation codes, which are gift codes for all donations accepted in the university, and I oversee a holding account, the funds for new and upcoming endowments. I have been employed at Michigan State University for a total of 23 years. I am married to my best friend Jim Dunn, who was born and raised in the city and is currently holding a position at Department of Public Works here in Perry. We have two beautiful toy Australian Shepherds, Mozzie and Millie, and in my free time, I love to work in my flower gardens, work around the yard, take walks with Mozzie and Millie, and I love a good book to read. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you.
Jacob, would you like to introduce yourself?
Not as eloquently. I did not, prepare anything, but I do talk for a living, so hopefully that'll help me through this. So my name is Jake Buffer. I was born in Cadillac, but raised in Durand, graduated from there. I'm 26 years old, soon to be 27, so I'm definitely younger. I married Cassidy DeLue, who has been around for many, many years in the city. I say that like she's a lot older than me, but she was born and raised. So her family have been along, community members, and being a part of my in-laws and being a resident in Perry, having a newborn son that's 7 weeks old. I really wanted to get active and make this community continue to make it as great as it is and make it any way better I can. I am a mechanical engineer during the day, so I design and sell commercial ventilation equipment. KFC, for example, would be a customer. So I hope that with my engineering background, my construction background, and my motivation to have a son and child in this community, that I can do my best. So,
Thank you,
Thank
Jake.
you.
thank you. You're welcome.
So welcome to both of you. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for volunteering.
Yes.
We're going to come back to Keena now because it was her turn to choose the Perry's Pride Award and the Put Your Best Face Forward Awards, and she will present those.
All right, so Put Your Best Face Forward is presented to Kentucky Fried Chicken in recognition of the efforts of being pride to your establishment and community. One reason why I chose Kentucky Fried Chicken is your establishment on the outside is beautiful. The lawn is gorgeous, the windows are clean. That to me is presenting a good face forward for anybody coming into our community. And on top of that, for myself, your staff is amazing. Every time I come in there, they are so respectful and kind and considerate and actually joke around a little bit. And I thought, what a better thing for outside community members to come in. That gives us a great recognition here in Perry. So they say, oh yeah, go back to that establishment at KFC in Perry.
Oh, yeah,
So I present
definitely.
this to you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for
Thank
everything you
you
do.
very much.
Let me get a
Yes.
picture, please.
Do you want to shake my hand?
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cute, thanks.
Great. This one is for a Perry Pride Resident Award. It is presented to Karen DiCarlo at, I won't say the address, but in recognition of efforts in maintaining your home and yard and generating Perry Pride. And this home is definitely Perry Pride. You have 2 lots there, and what I found just so inviting was that little bench that you put there. And I'm sure a lot of people do stop and sit there.
Well, they were sitting on my porch, and so I decided it's the halfway point around the lake, and they were always on my porch. So I said, I'm going to put a bench out there for these
Well,
poor
that
people.
is so wonderful. And your yard, your home in itself
you.
is just gorgeous. Thank you for everything
you.
you do for Perry. I really appreciate it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now move into public comment, and I believe John Liskey is going to come and speak, maybe Roy, I'm not sure. Or Mrs. John or Mr. Roy. Mrs. Roy.
I think I just want to introduce myself to especially the new members. John Liskey. I'm with my son Roy Liskey and his wife Caitlin and his mother Rhonda Liskey. And they are the owners of Local Roots Cannabis Company, and we have on your agenda a request for an extension of our license. So I think what I'll do is wait till you get to that agenda item, and then I can speak and answer any questions.
Thank you for introducing yourself, John.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to step forward for public comment tonight? And then we'll move on to communications and turn to Shirley.
Okay, so I have 2 things. I have a resignation from Nick Jones from the Planning Commission. Mayor Hannon, all Planning Commission members Please consider this email my resignation from the Planning Commission. Since our last meeting on August 7th, I have purchased and moved into a home located in East Lansing. I've enjoyed working with each of you over my time with the Planning Commission and feel proud of the progress we've made. I wish you all the best. And if we have questions, he left his phone number. Also, Courier Excavating, they were approved last meeting to do some work on Polly, Madison, 3rd Street, 2nd Street, the tornado cleanup, removing the stumps, and they have completed the work. They also have given us a discount on their price. So we are saving $1,650 off of what they quoted us. So
Awesome.
that, and then I also handed out, I'm sorry, I misplaced a lot of my papers somewhere.
You
tonight.
did.
I did.
Did you give me something that you need?
I don't know. So I also handed out the flyer from Agnew Signs.
I have two, maybe you give me yours.
I lost my proposal minutes too, just so you know. And then I also handed out something that Megan and Sue had worked on the tornado cleanup that we'll discuss later.
Yes, we will discuss those
Yep.
two things.
So that's that.
Okay, thank you very much. In regard to mayor reports, I just wanted to share this with you, and with Kevin Tyler's permission, I photocopied this, but it was a nice card that he received. I did not get one, but Kevin got one from the Congress of the United States from the office of Alyssa Slotkin, Congresswoman.
I'm not bragging either, but I got one.
You got one too? Well, there we are. I just wanted to read it because she took time to put little blue marks all over it, underline stuff, and I was surprised she didn't like have a smiley face on her or something because it's just so personal. But she just says this: I'd like to extend my gratitude for your tireless efforts and commitment to the community in the aftermath of the tornado that struck Perry this summer. Please know that your dedication to ensuring the safety of the community and the hard work you continue to put into the recovery efforts have not gone unnoticed. The swift response from the city provided much needed comfort and reassurance to the community during this challenging time, and the people of Perry are lucky to have leaders like you and Chad in their corner. I also want to express my appreciation for taking the time out of your busy schedule to show me some of the damage left behind. After seeing the extent of the damage at City Hall, at the Public Works Garage, and on Polly Street, I'm truly amazed and so thankful that there were no casualties. Please know that my office is here to help however we can, and that together we can work towards a brighter, more resilient future for Perry. Thank you once again for your exceptional leadership and commitment to the community, Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin.
If you'd like me to initial that, you can file it in my personnel file.
We'll take care of that tomorrow. Very good. I also just wanted to follow up for a minute. We've had that lot south of town for sale for, I forget how long, it seems like maybe a year or longer.
Seems like it.
Yeah, 12510 South M52. We have a person who's interested in purchasing it. I've shared that with you before, but we haven't been able to close on it because our city attorney was still trying to clear the cloud on the title. But finally, I had communication with him on the 18th, where he indicates that we've just submitted the default judgment to quiet title. Once he has that from the court, we can sell the property. So that may take another month or so. So I will keep you posted on that. And I think that's everything for my reports. Do we have committee reports tonight?
I'll give the group just a quick update. As I mentioned last time, we had been chartered by the, commissioned I should say, by the council to put together an animal ordinance task force to look at what we should do in terms of updating or proposing an update to our animal ordinance. We've had a fair amount of discussion here in past meetings. I want to report that the task force has completed a proposal, and that is going to move forward through the review and approval process. But we did have a couple of good meetings and think we've got something that hopefully will be acceptable to all, and it's just now a matter of getting it past our attorney and coming forward for a first reading and hopeful approval in future meetings.
We did have 3 people who are not part of the community. Do we want to share their names just so people know who else was serving on that
I'm glad we
task
do
force?
that, thanks, Sue. As we charted the group, we said we wanted to have a cross-discipline. We had Liz Kolak from the Shiawassee Humane Society that had just taken her position. She was at our last meeting, contributed. Megan Beavers, who is a resident that does a lot of cat rescue activities. Megan was one of the ladies that spoke at the council meeting where we had a high level of attendance. And also Patience Cole, who is the head of the Happy Feet Rescue activity. Patience was also at that particular council meeting, and so they were great contributors to helping us along with Sue was a member of that, myself as the chair, and Dave Cleaves, who is now a member of the Planning Commission, made the 6th person on our 6-person task force.
Very good. Thank you, Larry. Any other committees report?
I
Chad?
just wanted to give everybody an update. We had a parks meeting on Tuesday. Unfortunately, I didn't make it because 30 minutes before the meeting started, I had an emergency, so I had to not make it. But I just want to give everybody an update. We do have 1 bid back for the pavilion. We're waiting for 2 more other bids to come in. I just wanted to give everybody an update that we're still moving forward with everything. It's just taking a little bit to get the bids. Obviously, we're not going to start construction obviously this year, but it's in the works, so it's moving along.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One other thing I'll mention, though it's not a committee per se, I also sit on the Planning Commission, I think as most people know, and we are in the throes of putting together with the help of a company called McKenna, an updated master plan for the city. And I think I've mentioned before that we've got a online survey that we've had a number of people take, but we're still trying to get some additional input here in the next couple of weeks. So anyone that hasn't had the opportunity to complete that survey, it takes no more than about 10 minutes to go online to the Perry website and certainly take time to complete it so we can get as much community input as possible as we move forward with the plan.
Very good. Thank you, Larry, for that. Any other reports we need to hear? Moving on then to presentation and approval of the bills.
I move that we approve the bills as presented and the payment be authorized.
Second.
We have a motion from Chad, seconded by Larry. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Old business, none. New business. We heard Shirley read the resignation of Nick Jones from the Planning Commission. We now need to have a motion to accept that.
I move that we accept with regret the resignation of Planning Commission member Nick Jones from the Planning Commission and extend our appreciation for his service effective immediately. Second.
We have a motion from Larry, seconded by Bob. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. We have posted on the city website the open seat there, but I'll just promote that a little bit. If you're interested in serving on the Planning Commission, they meet once a month. And I would be happy to share any other information for you that you'd like to help yourself make that decision. So just give me a call or email. Our next item is possible approval to disconnect the second billing for sewer service at 126 North Madison Street. Kevin, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. The resident of the home recently purchased a home and decided that it would be more feasible for her and her son to live there without having multiple units there. They've done a lot of work to the home to eliminate barriers and take extra kitchens and stuff out to make it a single-family home. I walked through it with her and inspected all of the work that had been done to verify that it had been made into a single-family home, and I'm confident that it would be really hard for her to reverse what she's done to start charging rent or being able to rent out part of the home at this point. So she requested that we stop billing for the other sewer unit and save her a little bit of money on the monthly cost of water and sewer. So,
I think in talking with Shirley, it does have just a single water meter or water bill right now
yeah.
for the residents. So it's just the sewer we're talking about.
Correct.
Anybody on council have other questions for Kevin?
Not for Kevin, but do we need to have our assessor make sure it's not still assessed as a duplex anymore?
We
I
can
don't know
speak
if
to
it
her
is,
about
but-
that. I don't know how it's assessed now, so.
Yeah, neither do I. I just want to make sure it's,
We can bring it
done
to her
correctly.
attention. Yeah. I think maybe there's a form that she's gonna have to fill out, but we'll let Eileen
yeah,
take
just
care of
have
that.
everything, yeah, just to make sure. I don't
You're
want
right.
her,
Yeah,
she's gone through this much
you're right,
hassle to get this taken care of,
yeah. Good,
even though we
Good
need the
point.
money.
that won't break us.
I move that we approve to discontinue the second sewer building located at 126 North Madison Street after Kevin Tyler's inspection stated that the duplex has been converted to a single-family dwelling.
Second.
We have a motion from Bob, seconded by Larry. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Kevin, you can stay right there because we're coming to possible approval for engineering proposal, and I'll let you explain that.
Yes.
As you all know, we posted an RFP for engineering proposals for our water reliability study, asset management plan for water and sewer, and capital improvement plan for water, sewer, and roads. All of our proposals came in over budget. In thoughts of not wanting to put it out there or hold off longer, I've contacted both companies that submitted proposals. The C2AE told me that they are willing to pick it apart and only do the things that we can afford right now, hold off on items, and work it into our budget as needed. Wolverine sent me a nice letter saying that they would do it for our budgeted amount. So we don't have a formal proposal to approve tonight. We could award it based on that information, but I feel more comfortable having them write a formal proposal to bring to you guys to verify the amounts. I printed the letter, but I forgot to grab it. It's on my printer down at the shop. I was having some technical issues earlier. So based on that information, we'll probably just put this on hold and revisit it when I have all of the information available. But it sounds like they're going to work with us. Actually, right here it is. It says, I'll read it to you guys. It says, regarding the request for proposals, this amendment is on the basis of compensation pursuant to our telephone conversation on September 11, 2023 regarding the budget and the bias of the compensation. As forth in our proposal dated September 7th, 2023, we offer the following. Wolverine Engineers and Surveyors Incorporated will adjust our fees to reflect the values we provided for the budgetary purposes in February of 2023. We will complete the water reliability study, asset management plan, and 6-year capital improvement plan as outlined in our proposal in accordance with the rules, recommendations, guidelines set forth by the state of Michigan for the total lump sum of $28,000, which is really close to our budgeted amount. Note the timeline for the compensation would remain the same, April 1st, 2024, as stated in our original proposal. Should this modification be acceptable to the city, we would be happy to reflect this in a professional services agreement, which we would provide under separate cover for review and execution. So I will work with them to draft that, and then we will bring that at another meeting for you all to approve.
So what is the water reliability study, asset management, and 6-year capital improvement plans in a nutshell?
The state requires us to have a water reliability study done every 5 years. We are on borrowed time. We've got a waiver from the state saying that as long as we're working towards having an active one, that they will hold off on penalizing us for taking any further action. So we're working on fulfilling that obligation, and then that's also like a planning document that improvements for the water system need to follow that guideline pretty much. And we need to address issues or faults within our water system based on those recommendations. We hire a third party to do those assessments to get an outside constructive view of what we're doing. The asset management plan, the city's never really had anything concrete that it's also like a schedule that we use for various things, kind of like the water reliability study. It just covers more of a broad scope. Kind of guides the city and purchases and knowing what is coming due and when, and we can plan our budget accordingly.
Okay.
The capital improvement plan, Mayor Hammond asked us to do one citywide to cover everything that we have, and that will work hand in hand with the master plan.
Okay.
So it's all looking towards the future and looking towards the position the city needs to be in to fulfill our needs, upcoming and current.
We also need the capital improvement plan as part of the completion of the MEDC,
Right.
RRC.
Right, one of the key elements
Right.
in there.
A lot of these play a part in also receiving grant funds and knowing that we are on top of the planning, and it helps with those applications and planning in regards to those as well.
I would assume for them to complete this by April, they're gonna wanna get their official proposal that follows that email to us so we can get them started on it.
And we'll work with them on the timeline too. Nothing's set in stone. I believe that the contract will reflect that. We just have to start somewhere, and then if we have to extend it or amend it, we can do that down the road.
Well, it's terrific that they'll work with us so well, so just slightly over half, 50% off basically the estimate.
So if I'm hearing your recommendation is that we do no action taken on this at this time, and we'll wait till we have the documentation.
Yeah, that's fine, or we can approve it based on the adjusted.
$28,000.
Yeah, the adjusted amount.
And we can certainly do that, because if it comes in higher than that, we won't be signing that.
Right.
So council, what would you like to do?
Does somebody want to propose based on these numbers?
We can just, it's a $28,000
Yeah,
total, right?
28,000.
Yeah. So just cross 52.5 out of your, whatever that's called. I'm sorry, the proposed motion, and replace it with 28, because it's a up to amount, in an amount
Not
up
to.
to,
Not to exceed.
or not to exceed, however you want that to be worded.
28,000 even?
Well, it says in the amount up to 28, doesn't say anything about exceed.
In an amount not to exceed would replace the words up to.
So giving me permission to move forward, then I can sign the contract, or the mayor can sign the contract, and we can schedule the work and get started right away.
So we've got some other discussion. I
Other
move that we
discussion?
approve the 6-year capital improvement plan, water reliability study, asset management proposal from Wolverine Engineers in the amount not to exceed $28,000, and authorize Kevin Tyler to sign the paperwork necessary to move forward.
Second.
So we have a motion from Larry, seconded by Chad. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Okay.
We are now down to possible approval to extend the marijuana licensing request. I think you all got a copy of the letter from the Liskys. And if you have any questions regarding their request or how that might impact the city, we're open for discussion.
I don't know where the building's located since I'm new, so
It's not,
It's
it's
not.
gonna be a new one.
where?
Yeah,
Have you purchased property that yet?
We have an option.
You have an option on one, but you're waiting because of the interest rates and all that other good stuff that's,
they have an option on property, but as a business, a business that's going to be built, the Liskys would prefer not to absolutely share publicly on camera where that's going to be. It would have to, of course, go to the planning commission for their approval and so forth and so on. But they would prefer not to share that.
Just for your awareness, Jake, as a result of the ordinance, both our codified as well as zoning ordinance, we do specify that any marijuana establishment has to be at least 1,000 feet from any public school, public library, playground. So that does somewhat prescribe potential locations that they or anyone else could come into within the city. And they're operating under that understanding.
Okay.
Understand that extending this is not approving this. It's just extending their process for achieving the completion of obtaining their license.
They were granted some number of months ago now a conditional license, and in the ordinance it says they're to have been operational within 1 year after that conditional license was awarded. And because of the business environment and a number of other issues that have come up, they've asked for an extension, which the ordinance does allow for with council approval. And so that's fundamentally what they're requesting.
Okay. Great.
And those other issues, again, without going into a lot of detail, this has been an ongoing effort, to put it mildly, to accomplish getting this done. We had another company that has taken us to court, has circulated petitions that were less than what they should have been, and all of those actions pulled Liskys into the court actions and so on. So that has caused them at the outset to say, we're not building a building, we're not investing in land, we're not doing anything till we know that this can actually happen because of all of that stuff. So that really held it all up,
Oops, sorry.
but they're comfortable now that they can at least move ahead, but with delays that everyone is experiencing, materials and building a new building and construction and all that, they're asking for a 2-year extension.
Thank you.
You're welcome. John, do you have anything to add to all that?
Yeah, we can show you rendering of the building. And We have retained Lindman Construction on Lansing Road, who is our contractor, and we hope to present something to the city in the form of site plan and that whole process yet this fall. It is in our best interest to get open as soon as possible, but there's a lot that we don't control. And we have an in-house horticulturalist, I should point out, is Ron Nalisky. For those of you new to us, in Langsburg, we're very much community-oriented. We pride ourselves on being very involved in a lot of community efforts, and we're also very proud of the fact that we promote the medicinal aspects of marijuana, and we have an article that just came out today in the Lansing City Pulse. Every Monday now, through October, we have a doctor in our lobby to answer questions on how CBD can help you sleep or help with chronic pain. And so the reason we are successful enough to be here asking for this is because of our community focus and our focus on our customers, many of which live here in Perry.
How long have you been in Langsburg?
2 years.
Roy, I know you spoke to some of your community activities. Do you want to bring those up at all? Or?
Yeah, sure. So actually, October 8th, we have a community concert that we're sponsoring. Sadie Bass, she's originally from Bath, Michigan, but she was on The Voice last year. We had her for a free community concert this past year, and it was really great, so we're bringing her back. This will be, I think, our 7th free community concert that we've produced, as well as around Thanksgiving last year, we gave away 130 turkeys in 2 hours, and along with all the fixings for Thanksgiving, this year we're going to step it up and do 200, and just anything we can do to kind of disprove the stigma about cannabis users. We try to do that. I'm a member of the Lions Club in Langsburg, and I'm a board member of the Langsburg Business and Community Association. And we really just look for any community thing that we can be involved with to give back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Council, any other discussion, questions? Anything? Okay.
I move that we approve the following resolution. Whereas the Perry City Council has received a request from Roy Liskey to extend marijuana licensing requirements for a period of approximately 2 years for the reasons laid more fully in Mr. Liskey's letter dated September 8, 2023. Having reviewed and discussed the same, therefore the City of Perry does hereby agree to extend the time for Mr. Liskey to meet the licensing requirements as requested to December 1, 2025.
Second.
That you left?
Yes.
We have a motion from Larry, seconded by Bob. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Possible approval of trick or treat date and hours.
We won't have an insurance closed.
I move that we approve Trick or Treat to be held on Tuesday, October 31st, 2023, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Second.
Motion from Chad, seconded by Bob. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
It's back open. If you've ever driven past my house around Halloween, you know, that was a joke.
We have review of the tornado cleanup plan, and I believe you've all been given a report, copy of a report that looks like that.
Yes.
Yes,
Mine's
okay,
highlighted.
yep.
It's special.
Yes, mine's not. There you go again.
See?
Chad, I suppose yours is too.
Yep.
Okay.
Everybody's but yours.
Yeah, that's all right. The department heads, and for those of you that might not know, that's Kevin Tyler, Megan Galbraith, the treasurer, Shirley Smith, the clerk, and Kyle Box, our police chief. Those are our 4 department heads. And I met to go over the things that have been done so far in relation to the tornado cleanup efforts, and kind of divided them into those things that were absolutely safety issues, priority, and needed to be done. And those are at the top of the page, titled sidewalks, standing tree removal, stump root removal, tree debris hauling removal, storage containers, emergency labor and equipment. You'll notice that the sidewalks, the original expense, and C2AE engineers did an evaluation of those just to make sure there was no damage to things underneath the sidewalks, the pipes and stuff. Am I saying that right, Kevin?
Yeah, they made sure there wasn't any damage to the water services or the sewer leaks in that area.
They quoted then an estimated cost of $20,000 to correct the problems there, because when roots came up, it upheaved huge slabs of concrete. And so there was approximate a $20,000 cost to repairing that. During our department head discussion, Kevin said we could maybe do this ourselves rather than hiring it out. And tell us what you've done so far in the sidewalks now.
Courtier excavating removed all of the stump masses, the big parts that we didn't have equipment to move. In doing so, they used the frost tooth implement on their excavator, and they picked apart all of the stumps to get as much dirt out of them as possible. And in doing so, left a lot of stump roots and debris behind. So we had to go back through and rake all that out, pull all the stumps, cut everything off that was still attached, and we backfilled the dirt areas with fill dirt, and we put gravel in where the sidewalks used to be for temporary purposes, just to make it passable if somebody showed and encounter those and need safe passage, we're able to do so with the gravel. It's not a permanent fix, but it'll get us through until we can get something going for replacements of those sidewalks. So we're going to leave it like that. And I don't know if we'll start pouring new sidewalks this fall or wait till spring. And we encourage people that don't want to wait for the city to go ahead and repair their own if they can do so or have the means to do so. They want their sidewalk back. They can absolutely have it done themselves or do it themselves.
That total number then has been reduced from what C2AE thought would be $20,000 to $10,000.
Give or take.
And it's an estimate, give or take. The removal of the standing trees, those that were damaged and unsafe, this sheet says in progress. Is that still in progress or is it completed?
They were able to get all the damaged trees down except one. There's a power line that comes into play, and they schedule the power line to be taken down by consumers so they can remove the tree and then put the power line right back up.
Okay, so it's almost done.
Almost done, yes.
So
And
I
then-
I have one comment on that. I live on Washington, which is where most of I would say Washington and 2nd Street. I did notice one tree that was still hanging. I didn't know if I could add that to, is it Dunmore Tree Service?
I think that's just done with that.
Yeah, so I just didn't know if I could point that out. I live on Washington, but,
Yeah, I'll be happy to take a look at it if it hasn't been included in the scope of work.
okay.
I don't know exactly where the tree is that's left. I haven't walked through it with Paul, but
Sure. I can show you after the meeting. I have pictures and stuff.
Okay, very good. The tree debris hauling removal, this was huge. It is completed now. We have a mountain of debris over on DPW property. That cost $14,750. Kevin was able to get some storage containers, and they're not like the storage containers you put your extra pillows in. They're like the back of a semi-truck.
They're sea shippers.
Yeah,
There we go, they have a name, shipping containers. I figured they must.
How many did you buy?
2.
2? Which is not a lot of price.
So we purchased those for $6,800, and we can securely store all of the stuff that used to be stored in those buildings that were
A lot of the stuff.
smashed.
None of the big.
A lot of the
None
stuff,
of the big items. but
none of the big stuff, but
The mowers and smaller equipment, motorized equipment is all housed within those.
Can I just say something?
you may.
So I emailed Scott, where's he from?
He is our,
He's an independent adjuster
yes.
for
insurance
MML.
adjuster.
So I emailed him because when Kevin and I met with him right after the tornado, I swear he said that those would be covered by insurance. So I emailed him earlier this week, asked him, he asked me some questions. I told him what they were for. It's a possibility they will be covered because they usually rent these. So if we have this for a year, chances are we'd be spending less money here than what it would be renting it for a year or however long that we've had. So I'm just waiting to hear back. So if insurance covers it,
Yeah.
When we're done with them, we'll probably resale one and donate one to Parks. I think Parks will use.
Yeah, they're great things to have. I had 2 when I had my own company. They're invaluable.
Is there any value in keeping 1 or 2? They're pretty indestructible, right?
Due to the hastiness of the order, one of them isn't as nice as I would like it to be. It's had a big patch down on the roof, and it's going to be problematic down the road. So that one I'd like to see be resale, resold, or repurposed some other way.
Okay.
The next item on the urgent list was our emergency labor and equipment. This was from the night of and the day after the tornado, mostly in labor expense, $1,635. So the total of the priority safety issues costs related to the tornado are $45,685. The cleanup expenses that were not or are not of safety concern would include the tree debris, that is the mountain of tree debris that's on DPW property. And we have an estimate to do that grinding and removal of $30,000.
It was 28,000 and some change. We rounded up to 30 for the work.
Okay. So we are looking, Kevin is looking at possibly renting gigantic equipment to bring that in for our DPW employees to grind that stuff up themselves as a winter project. And so he's getting some estimates and bids in regard to that cost and so forth. So far, the one that he shared with me is not a whole lot different from $28,000. So he'll continue to get some bids, and we'll need to revisit this though and decide how we're gonna take care of that stuff. Anything else to add to that, Ken?
I believe that the one bid that I got was right around $23,000 for us to rent the equipment. And then we have to provide manpower, which estimates from the company said it should take us about 3 days to get through those files. We would have the equipment for a week, 7 days, 40 hours. For basically another $5,000, we could have the company come in and do the work, and they're going to haul everything away. If we rent the equipment and do it ourselves for a little bit of a discount, we're still going to have a mountain of wood chips and debris to deal with. So it's just some things to consider. If we're going to do it yet this year, we're gonna have to bring something soon and figure out how to fund it. That's kind of where we're at with that right now. I don't think letting it sit over the winter is the best choice. Critters are gonna start moving in, other trees are gonna start sprouting from the debris. It's gonna be more costly in the long run if we let it sit for too long. So Megan and I are kind of looking at options to fund this, and maybe at the next meeting we'll have something to bring forward.
Was that a drum grinder? Or tub grinder they call it?
Yeah,
Grind it up, or
they
is it?
quoted me a couple of different options. I think that the horizontal grinder, high-speed one, was a little more cost-effective.
Will that stuff go through a quote-unquote more traditional chipper? I think you need to have something that is like that
It,
because of the debris that's on the, is that just the branches or is that also the stumps?
the stumps, we would have to do another.
Separately.
Yes, we'd have to do something else with it. The company that I talked to about contracting the work done said they had a splitter, and they would include splitting those apart, removing all the dirt, and throwing them in with the other stuff to grind in that $28,000 cost.
Any other questions about that? Okay, next on the report, cleanup expenses and underinsured related expenses. These items are necessary for the restoration of our DPW operations, but did not have full replacement value. The DPW barn rebuild, which we have not even begun because we haven't even achieved plans or anything definite. But these 3 DPW barns housed equipment and road salt. They were all insured. 2 were insured at cash value and 1 at replacement cost. That space that those 3 buildings created will need to be replaced with a new building. For now, the equipment's being stored on site in those things, what are they called again? Shipping containers. The goal, though, is to build in the spring of 2024 and do so within the scope of funds that are available at the time. What an estimate is for that to be rebuilt, we have on here is probably under what it's going to take, but we wrote in $120,000. The total of expected expenses related to the storm damage and restoration is approximately $195,685. Previously, you heard us say 205. Well, it's been refined, $195,685. Before insurance, the storm-related expenses totaled approximately $500,000 to clean up and restore damage in the city to trees and sidewalks, city-owned property, DPW barns and their content, the pavilion, the flagpoles, the city hall gutter and downspouts, and other miscellaneous damage and service expenses. It's estimated that insurance will cover about $300,000, and that's a real estimate. We don't have a absolutely this is how much money you're going to get yet. So that leaves the previously indicated $205,000 in uninsured expenses to be paid with city funds. The city's general fund surplus from prior year budgets can cover the roughly $50,000, the $45,685, with approved budget amendments. Megan has talked with our auditors, and a new fund has been created that is for City of Perry natural disaster. That's where the insurance money will go. That's when any donated monies received, it will go there. It will only be used for those purposes. But expecting the general fund to solely support all recovery efforts beyond that may impact our ability to properly fund future larger improvement projects or emergencies. As recommended by the Deputy State Director of Emergency Management, we will apply for legislative appropriation grant funds to cover the cost of debris grinding, removal, and expenses related to underinsured DPW facilities. Senator Sam Singh has offered to have his office assist with finding and applying for those funds. All donations and insurance money will be deposited in that newly created general ledger account, specifically earmarked natural disaster recovery. The money will be used only for cleanup and restoration of the damages from this natural disaster. Another little bit of an update, and Chad spoke to it somewhat. The Veterans Memorial Pavilion was insured at replacement value. So planning for the replacement of that facility is underway and anticipated to be done in the spring of 2024, pending contractor availability. Items on city property that were not in a building or a part of a building, such as our light poles, our flag poles, and the tornado siren, they were insured for replacement value. So planning for that restoration and improvements, possible improvements to the tornado siren are underway, looking at options there. So that is our report. Are there any questions regarding the report? While Kevin's here,
Did they,
Shirley's here.
did they give an ETA on the new siren or anything, like?
It's been ordered. It's gonna take them time to receive that. And then as soon as we're able to move ahead, we're going to. I haven't talked to them since we've ordered it, so I can probably call and get a status update and get back to you on that to figure out, how far away we are from completion of that project.
Okay, I was just wondering if they gave you an
I'm curious
update.
myself, and I have been too busy to inquire, but I will do that for you.
All right, thank you.
We do have one siren that is functional, so it works. It was tested and we could actually hear it, so that's nice.
Do we have to put that siren up back where it was, same location, or?
No, we picked a new site that's more centrally located and will reach the city limits in 3 sites. And then the other siren covers the rest of the area.
I know we talked about it, but I didn't know if they could actually,
No, someone had done some work previous to
Yeah.
my start here and figured out a plan, and they were trying to figure out how to get grant money or something to fund it up until this point. So the tornado took care of that for us, so we were able to move forward with the relocation and advancement of that project.
small things.
Yes. Now, we have publicly asked for donations for those who are willing to assist with the repairs, especially the $45,685 that we've actually had to expend. We have spent that. I just want you to know where we're at with donations that have been sent in. And to date, the donations total, this is not any insurance money, this is just donations from private citizens, $10,731.
Wow.
The insurance that's been received to date is $57,214. Today, an anonymous donor, and I always cry when I have to talk about this, so excuse me, I'm a little emotional. An anonymous donor has offered to make a contribution equal to half of all contributions made to the City of Perry Natural Disaster Fund by private donors from September 22nd, so starting tomorrow, to December 1st, up to a total of $5,000. So if someone contributed 100, it now becomes 150. If somebody contributes 200, it now becomes 300, and so forth. So very generous offer, and I hope that people will take advantage of that. And it's wonderful that someone is willing to do that. Any questions about that? Any input for Kevin or questions for him that you want him to follow up on in regard to the report that was brought today?
The only thing that comes to mind is winter's coming. Are we gonna give people a break at just gravel sidewalks a little bit? So, you know, our ordinance says you have to clear your sidewalk and basically be ice-free.
Oh, I see what you're saying, okay.
I think that would be extenuating circumstances, and I don't think.
I just want, you know,
we have the means to enforce somebody snow blowing over gravel and taking out car windows and.
yeah, I just want to make sure the residents understand, know that we're not going to be hounding them, and they should be careful about that. Snow blowing,
I would
gravel.
recommend that they do their best.
Yes, exactly.
The DPW and the police department are the people who always are out and about, especially after a snowstorm. So they're always the ones who say, oh, that should have been cleared or not. So we may have to make a little map that says there's really no concrete sidewalk here, so that we can immediately go, oh, yeah, no, they can't clear that, there's no sidewalk.
Yeah, we can settle that internally and figure out what to do about it.
Anything else? Well, that's the report so far. Larry, do you have something?
Yeah, I think back to the donation for a second. I
Yeah.
think we had some preliminary discussion, or asked for it to be on the agenda.
Oh,
And
yes,
do we
yes,
want
yes.
to have
Thank you, I forgot.
something visible
Yes.
for some period of time to try to remind people that we are trying to deal with a budget issue in terms of unexpected expenses that we certainly hadn't planned for.
Yep.
And to that end, I had some thoughts that maybe we have some visible thermometer, barometer, whatever, in a public spot, maybe Carl's, maybe by the police or fire station, that people see in the normal course of business. It's a reminder, that we've got either 50,000 or 200,000, whatever number we want, that we could just kind of mark, here's what we've gotten in terms of any grant money, donation funds, and here's the remaining shortfall that the city's unfortunately dealing with.
Yes, thank you, I totally forgot. I did have another meeting over at my church about a new sign, and Mark Agnew from Agnew Sign Company in Owasso was there. Nice man. And so, as we were waiting for other people to come, I said, Mark, do you ever rent out thermometer signs, those ones you see that show how the funds grow? And he said, no, we don't rent them, but we make them all the time. I said, oh, do you? It's like, what do they look like? So he said it's 3 feet by 6 feet. It's a standing sign. It has a thermometer on it. And then there's vinyl pieces that you put on it to show the funds growing. Yes. He said at that point the cost is $400. I said, okay, well, thank you for that. Everybody else came. We had our other meeting. And then when we were done, I said, I just want to verify what you told me so I can take this information to the council meeting Thursday night. So blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And it's $400. And he said, make it $300. I'll contribute the other $100 to your cause. So it would take about 6 weeks to get that. DPW would have to make it stand. They would have to do that part. But, so what are your thoughts? Do you want to do something like this? And if so, what money do you want to use to pay for it? Do you want to take it out of the donations? I don't think we should, because people are giving donations for the restoration and cleanup. So I think it should be, if we decide to do it, come out of general fund. And Megan's not here tonight, but we have enough money to do that. The auditors have told her they'll help her when it's time to do so for the audit, for what's been paid out of general fund that should have come out of the donations money and social help or do this. So we do have adequate funds in there certainly to do a $300 sign if you're so inclined.
We could reuse it for other.
We could
for
reuse it,
parks.
that's right, yeah, we could use
Well,
it
as
for
long as,
other
as
things.
long as the vinyl adhesive can be removed.
Yeah, it can,
Oh,
it just
right.
peels right off, he said.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it
Okay.
just peels right off. That's what he said.
Not a bad
Yeah, so
idea.
if we do fundraising.
I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I know, Morris did it
Mhm.
for
Yeah,
their
Dreams.
Field of Dreams. It was right on the corner
Yeah.
of Lansing and Morris Road. So,
It's visible.
Mhm.
People need to be reminded.
Yeah, I think they do, especially because the DPW's done such a great job cleaning it all up. It's, you know, it's like, oh, you had a tornado? So discussion on that, what do you think?
Did he report it would be 6 weeks though before we could have it?
No, he did not say 6 weeks. Did I say 6 weeks? I'm sorry. 10 days.
Okay.
That's what
Sorry.
Yeah, I may have misheard, but
Well,
I.
not every week's
We're
there,
gonna
too.
forget. Sorry.
It
10
says a
10
different light
days.
on it, is, had it been that delay, that would have been a concern of mine, but
Yeah.
10 days or
Yeah.
whatever, that's.
And it is getting dark out though too, so I think if we do this, we're gonna need to put it somewhere where lights are gonna hit it while people are going to work, coming home from work,
so the best
driving
place,
through town. It's
the
not
best
like
place
summer.
probably would be Carl's then, right in front of Carl's.
Right.
Or the, yeah, right there at the elementary.
And a sign.
Or underneath the sign, in front of the sign,
Really
between
nice.
the fence, between the fence and the signpost.
Yeah, because of the lights in their parking lot, yeah, right.
So do we need like an emotion?
If we're gonna
You
spend,
need a motion to spend the money, yes.
I was emotional. This is emotional.
Okay, well, I'll try to put one together here.
You can.
So, I move that we approve Agnew Sign Company to make a sign 3 feet by 6 inches, or is it 3 feet?
By 6 feet.
6 feet.
3 feet by 6 feet for the donations. Not to, well, for the, sorry, I'm not making a very good one here today. Okay, so I approve that Agnew Sign make the thermometer sign not to exceed the $300 limit.
Oh.
I second it.
We have a motion from Chad, seconded by Larry. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Okay, I will call him tomorrow.
The only other thing I would like to add, I noticed when the city doesn't own them, should have some sort of program, I haven't contacted CNN, but a program for replacing the trees.
On the railroad, around the city.
Through
you
the
mean.
city.
Yeah,
We-
yeah, that's.
Besides the ones that got cut, you know, that actually fell over, we removed some because they were dangerous, so.
Right, yeah,
I love that, it's great.
you know.
yeah, I think that's a
CN
great
has a
idea.
program. I haven't gotten to send him an email about it yet, but
Well,
I have connections. I
I've
know some
received
people
an
who grow
email.
some,
I
so.
sent it to Megan.
You did?
Mhm.
What did it say?
Thanks. Where is it? It's a grant. They contribute so much, we contribute so much. Beautification of the town.
Yeah, anywhere they pass through, they have this
Yes,
program.
yes, they do.
We, when I was, running the Parks Director, I just looked into it, but we didn't go any further than
Yeah,
that. So-
I don't know if, so Megan has got it before, I just saw it, it's the first time I've received it, and I just sent it to her. And so, I don't know, it was just this week, so.
There might even be some of that legislative apportionment money or a grant that they might help us find besides CNN, so we can maybe do several places to achieve that.
I know a couple people that grow trees, so I'll see if I
Okay.
can do something.
That would be great.
Then I'll do a bit more of a discount than normal.
Okay.
I don't know, no promises.
I know right after the tornado, Nash Nurseries called and offered a tree. but we weren't ready for a tree yet, so that, I think, once we decide what we want to do, we could send out communications to Nash Nurseries, to Focal Point, to all the
Yep.
other places around here that have that.
Another place we want to try is Peacock Tree Farm.
Christian.
Okay,
Other thing we should probably talk about, back to the sign, we approved making the sign. What do we want to depict on that? Obviously donations, do we want to show the $50,000? Do we want to show the $200,000 and apply any grant money or anything to it? Should that come in? What message do we want to send to all the folks that are seeing that sign, or that thermometer?
Well, do we want to say the total amount is approximately $500,000 in damages? We had X amount of dollars of insurance, we have donations. Do we want to show that amount? To show, it's true, it's not fibbing, it's just, this is the total picture.
That's why
This is much
I'm raising the
money.
question, Bob, but we just need to kind of consensus, because they're gonna ask the question.
Right, they're gonna ask, where do you
What
want,
grading it
where
do
are we
you want?
stopping? $10. I would say that you want to show the most, so then it looks, the amount was this much, and we've got half of it, roughly, that point.
so we want to go to 200,000.
No, Bob's suggesting we
The
go
total amount, so our total
$500,000.
damage was 500, more or less.
Okay,
Show that was our total damage, our loss.
okay,
We have insurance that picks up,
300,000 or whatever the.
right, whatever those
That's
numbers
an
are.
estimate.
Right now, we have approximately $200,000 that's not covered. So that's, the thermometer would show that. Show people that just complete transparency or as much as possible.
Do you think we should do the insurance money in a different color?
Could be.
Maybe just in
I think it should just be all one.
all the same color? Okay, I'm fine with that. Do you want it to be silver, like mercury, or do you want it to be red, or how do you want
I would
the?
think red.
Red,
Red.
so people, it
Red
stands
for
out
Gary
more.
also.
Oh, yeah,
Can we make the sign reflective?
I can ask.
Yeah, because it's gonna get dark soon.
Already is.
Yeah, this morning.
And do we want it at the top to say City of Perry Natural Disaster Fund? That's what the new line item is, the new fund on the budget is called.
That would,
I think
yeah,
we should.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, anything else about the sign? Okay, we'll ask if there's any other public comment anybody cares to have at this time. And any other council discussion or observations? And surely you'll let Mike Connell know that he is choosing for next month the best face forward in Gary's Pride.
Mine
And
is,
you're-
mine is the second
Yes.
meeting, right, the 19th?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if this is the appropriate place, but, we talk a lot about the DPW buildings. Some were cash value, some weren't. Is there an appropriate time where we would talk about assessing our insurance currently and what we're gonna change in the future?
We're gonna work on that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
renew December 1st.
Okay.
And that was already something that I was planning on getting,
Well, it's-
appraisals, yes,
Appraisals.
thank
Okay.
you, appraisals.
That was part of our department heads meeting discussion, but we hadn't concluded it, so I didn't put it in the report. But-
Sure.
But yes, we definitely will talk to MML, who carries our insurance about, that's the Michigan Municipal League.
Okay.
They have our insurance, and
And I just haven't reached out to her yet,
Yeah.
because it's just, everything's so up in the air, and
Right.
we will be renewing, so I thought that I would reach out to her and just ask her who she suggests. I'm
Right.
sure that they have people that they use to appraise for, cities and townships and
We
whatnot.
may want to look at, to your point, a resolution to set it every 5 years or 3 years or something, like that gets redone.
Appraisal,
So
yeah.
we don't run into
Agreed.
the stuff that's not valued at the proper amount.
Agreed.
Cost keeps going up.
I'm thinking perhaps we would want to create a committee of, say, 3 people to assist the city clerk, who's always been the person responsible for making sure everything was insured properly. But I think maybe it would just be prudent in light of the damages and stuff if we had a committee of 3. So it would be the city clerk, and I think probably the mayor. But then who would we want to have be the 3rd person? The DPW
Well, I
superintendent?
think that's what we
or-
talked about, because he knows what he has up there and what, his value,
Yeah.
his items are valued at, more than what we do.
Yeah. Okay, then we will have a committee just established internally to achieve reassessing our insurance coverages and the building appraisals. The city clerk, the DPW superintendent, and the mayor to sit on that committee. Anything else? It is 8:14 PM and this meeting is adjourned.